I am Catherine Beasley, and as a member of the Your First 5K Club, I have surpassed 5K.
Wow. You spent about $50 and you made about $5,000 in like less than 3 months.
Yes.
You had a 100x return on investment.
Yeah, exactly. I am Catherine Beasley, and as a member of the Your First 5K Club, I have surpassed 5K within this group, the time that we've been in this group. And I actually joined, I think, on the first day that you set it up. So I've been in here the whole time.
Wow. Okay. So you're in your first 5K.
Yes.
And you started on the first day, which was, when was that again?
So it was either the end of April or the beginning of May, I want to say it was.
Okay. Yeah. And so it's just been a few weeks.
Yes.
And the whole premise of your first 5K, as the name says, is I want to help you make your first 5K or your next 5K online. How did you make 5K in this membership? We'll get into the details, but what's the big picture?
So the big picture, honestly, has been just watching what you've been doing and seeing you work has inspired me to actually get some work done. Also, just to stop feeling like I am unable to do this, right? So all of your work with imposter syndrome. It was just finally like everything coming together. And once I was in your group where there's just value after value after value that you're adding, as well as the other people in the group talking to one another and encouraging one another, it was harder to not do the work.
Okay. And then what is your offer that you've made this on, or has it been more than one offer?
It's actually, so it started out as one offer, and that is it's now renamed. It's the AI Clarity and Confidence Strategy Session that I offer for individuals. And I know we're supposed to niche down, but it's for individuals.
No. Wait, there's a lot of assumptions. So let's go back. So one is it's the AI, and then how much does that cost and what is it for?
So that session is $297, and it's for individuals or professionals or for small business owners, entrepreneurs who haven't yet embraced AI or who know about AI and are looking for strategies on how to incorporate it in their lives, as well as for solopreneurs or small businesses.
You were on this amazing video that we did on YouTube on this channel where you walked us through all of this accessible AI. And I mean, the response from that has been absolutely amazing. How has that response been for you so far?
So far, it's been really great. It has definitely helped to boost my credibility, right? It's one thing to know information. It's another thing for people to trust that you know information. And so being on your channel definitely helped with that. And it also helped me to put my offer out there to people, right? Because now I have that and I wanted to move on that momentum.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so you had the 297, and was that is those one-on-one calls, or how does that work?
So it's a one-on-one call for 1 hour. They'll receive a survey in the beginning, but it's a 1 hour session where it's a discovery call in essence. And then after that, within 5 days, they receive a future-proof framework playbook that allows them that has me decipher and give them an assessment of where they could use AI in their lives or in their business. And then a 30-minute session where we go over that and figure out ways where we can continue to work together, or I help them with a DIY version of how to achieve the goal that we discussed.
Okay, is that all included in the 297?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's included in the 297.
And you had, how many of those do you think you've sold?
So I sold 2 of those. And then the third one, the business, I thought she got on for how I could help her with her business. And she just kind of struck down everything that I thought I would be able to help her, not even convince her, but help her with her business. And she said, I really need personal help. And so when she talked about the type of personal development she was looking for, so I had actually ended up creating a separate offer on the spot for her, in essence, to be able to help her achieve her personal development goals.
What's the lesson there? You have these calls, there are 297. People are constantly asking themselves, can I be the person who charges money to get on a call with me? What do you have to say to them before we get to the bigger lesson?
I say absolutely you can, right? It was not easy for me to hit the send button with my offer, right? And then to talk to her about it. And it ended up being that she just was ready to buy. So for me, it was, I was feeling like I had to justify the price or the charge for it. And she just was waiting for me to tell her how much and was ready to sign on the dotted line.
So you're talking about the bigger one, or
the bigger client?
Yeah. So going back to the $297,
what
do you say to people who say, I can't charge somebody $100, $200, $300 to have a one-on-one call with me?
You absolutely can and should, right? You have the expertise. You're the person who has studied everything to be able to learn the information that you're imparting. And you need to value your own time as well as the effort that you're putting in to provide the service. So for, in essence, an hour and a half of my time, plus the additional time that I put into creating that playbook for people, I had no problem charging that $297.
Not only that, but the value that it's giving the other person.
Absolutely.
What will they be able to do and turn around, right? That's what you have to look at too, is this is my time, this is my expertise. I always talk about, I don't get paid $50,000 to speak for 45 minutes. I get $50,000 to speak because of the last 45 years, right? That is really why that value is there. And then it's about, what is the other party getting from that, the transformation that you're helping to make. Now, another lesson is, have these calls, because you never know what the person on the other side of that may need. You go into the calls ready to deliver on what you have sold. And then you have a curious mind and an open mind, and it just might surprise you. So this person came in and said, listen, I need more help. I need more one-on-one, or is it do it for you? How exactly are you delivering that bigger picture?
So it's personal development. And she wanted to work on better habit creation and organization, right? And so I put together a 12-week program where we're meeting one-on-one, and she also gets some email correspondence with me, but she's able to call me on the phone. And then I created some content, like some assets that we're using. We're working with a book. She told me what her learning preference was. So I've also provided mediums that allow her to learn the best way that she can. And we've revamped it just to suit how it works for her.
When you joined your first 5K just a few weeks ago, what did you have in mind? What did you hope would happen or think would happen?
So I was introduced to you through a different program that I was a part of. And so I'd been watching your YouTube once you started it. And I was really excited about the fact that you offered this lower tier program in order to start to work with you. Simply because it's been my nature to join a program and not do the work. So when you offered it at the price that you did, it was a no-brainer, right? Even if I don't do the work, it was $45 when I joined, because I was one of the first people who joined. For the whole year, $45.
$45. This is more than 100x return.
Exactly, right? And so because of that, it also made me want to dig in some more. And again, I'd done some work on myself to make sure I was ready to do the work. I've been looking at all of the different videos, and I'm always on the YouTube when you have your sessions. But it's just a lot of value there. And then the community itself, having a supportive community that, right, there are people who hold you accountable. So
well, speaking of the accountable, you do a light accountability program within it that you just volunteered to do very early on. Talk to us about that. If somebody is either in your first 5K and didn't realize that you do that, or they're watching and they're thinking, oh, I think this community might be for me. Why did you decide to do that, and what is it?
So in one of our first calls, you broke us into breakout rooms on the Zoom, and one of the women asked if we could exchange emails so that we could hold each other accountable. And so instead of just doing it with the 3 people in our breakout room, I went into the overall community and created what's called a light peer accountability group. And so we wanted to be able to have people at least write something down or type it in the Google form that would hold them accountable to themselves.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see that user generated bonus, and I've loved every minute of it. We also, with Summer School, which is spelled SKOOL, that's the platform that we use. We also have Brendolyn, who's come in, and she is an official coach who's come in for, I believe it's 3 calls per week that she's doing. She's doing my book club that she's done for the past 5 years, which is pretty awesome. She does an accountability session, and then she also does an onboarding session. So if you're brand new, or if you want a little bit of a refresher, you can come in. Brendolyn, who is an incredible coach, will come in and help you with that. So there's just all this support, like on a daily basis inside of the membership. And I'll tell you why I'd have that. I wanted it to feel like you paid 10 times what you paid, if not more. I wanted it to feel like
450 times.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So in your case, what you're saying is you spent about $50 and you made about $5,000 in like less than 3 months.
Yes.
You had a 100x return on investment.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Love it.
Pretty awesome.
It is. And it's awesome. Just a start, right?
Absolutely. That's the point. And it's the jump off. And what we encourage is that when you do reach that 5K, or even sometimes before, you join Arlan's All Access, because that's our goal for getting to 100K. When you make your first 5K, what do you then believe you can do?
Anything. There's no limit, right? One, the multiple number of ways that you have added to the group for us to be able to hit that 5K, right? So if one thing isn't right for you, then try it this way, right? So you have your 5-day challenge that people have been able to start to earn money with. You have your GPT, Arlan Jr., that will talk you through how to make a set amount of money. And you can talk to it and set a different monetary goal. So it doesn't just have to be 5K. You can say, hey, give me the run or give me the play for 10K, right? Yeah. And it makes adjustments for you. And it listens, right? So depending on what your expertise is and the conversation you're having, you can come up with an idea that you can run with.
Yeah. For people who are thinking about doing one-on-one calls, because that's the one you selected. We talk about different ones, as you mentioned. Let's say somebody is in your first 5K right now. They're watching this and they want to understand, I've never done a one-on-one where somebody paid me to call. What happens? Do I get on the Zoom or the Google Meet, and then what?
Right. So I will preface this by saying, I've always said, I don't want to do one-on-ones, right? It's a lot of time commitment, et cetera, but it is the easiest way for you to learn what your avatar and your clientele want. So one-on-ones are the best way for you to learn from your clients. Me trying to identify what pain this specific client has within the scope of what it is that I'm trying to help them with, right? So it was AI in business, then it turned into personal development. For your client, if you can't deliver the transformation, do not make the promise.
Let's talk about how AI plays into what you've done. Now, we know from your interview that just kind of blew up on YouTube. We know that you use AI in a very cool way, and we can link to that video. We can go search for it. But with this particular offer, with your $297 one-on-one, which could go up at any time, but one-on-ones, and then this bigger 12-week delivery that you're doing that is in the thousands, how has AI, name one way AI has helped you make that happen?
So I am a person who doesn't do anything without AI, but I also understand that I'm not doing it with AI as it bringing the brain. I use it as a place where I ideate and where it helps me to think further out and more outside of the box than what I normally do. So it's my companion. It's not, I just take whatever it says as face value and then run with it, right? I have a lot of questions that I ask it, and I probably ask too many questions, clarifying questions, to make sure that I'm getting my point across, as well as then receiving the right information or things that really feel good to me to be able to provide to a client.
Yeah. And what I get from this too, in addition to all that you're pouring into this, it's more productive because of AI. It's certainly, that's how it helps. But what I'm getting from this is that everything you're pouring into this, the 5th person, the 10th person, the 20th person that you work with like this is going to be benefited by all this work that you're doing. And the process will become easier and simpler for you, because you'll optimize that no friction based on what happens each time. And
exactly.
And again, we said it earlier, as you do that, you can then decide to charge more, or you can have different versions of it that are, for different tiers. That's
right.
That's the beauty of plugging AI into this workflow.
Absolutely. And it's helping me already, right? So one of the things that I'm making sure to do is keeping track of the types of clarifying questions that I'm asking, so that the next time I could just go in and ask the right questions from the beginning. And so learning how to create the content and the resources for this client as I'm going along is absolutely going to help me to redo this, right, for the next person. And then maybe there's one or two things extra from the 10 people instead of just everyone having the same issue. So it won't be as much work, but I look forward to having a group session.
Well, one thing I would suggest, and I'll just do this like live coaching right now if you want, but I think it'll help a lot of people. One thing I would suggest, your AI all day, right?
Yep.
Take this, and not necessarily the personal inputs from the person, but maybe like a kind of a broad summary of it, and have AI, ChatGPT, or whatever you use, have it like break down each step, everything that after it happens, like what happened, and then turn that into a custom GPT that for each individual client, not just one custom GPT, but for individual clients, that you then give them that knowledge base, and then the individual clients knowledge base. Maybe that's from one phone call that you have, or something, or a survey that they fill out. And then what I'm doing is I have a $2,500 product that is, you can either pay $25,000 for a year of something, or, and I'll do it for you for the most part, or you can pay $2,500 and you'll get this custom GPT that was built around you that can be added to over time. So I know you deal with custom GPTs, but I think a play that people are not doing enough of is not just having a custom GPT like I have in Your First 5K. I have it, anybody can use it in the membership, which is incredibly helpful, obviously. Right. But this is like, this is yours. Now this is yours, and this is yours. What do you think of that?
I love it. And I am absolutely planning to incorporate more GPTs and things that just make it easier to hit every bit of the high notes, or in sections, even if it has to be, so that, again, right now, and also because this wasn't what my offer was. So it is taking more time, but I do have a lot of pieces in place for my AI consultation for that very reason, where I'm looking at, ways to streamline how to do this, and ways to get people to either be able to get those results for themselves, as we talked about. And as you just mentioned, if you want, here's this information, and here, have at it, do it yourself. Or if you want to work with me, there's the higher price point, and now we're doing it together or for you. Is right.
That custom GPT inside of Your First 5K seems like it was that kickoff that you needed. And would you say before you joined Your First 5K, where were you? Like, where were you in your life, mentally and otherwise?
And honestly, even right now, I worked in healthcare for almost 18 years as an implementation consultant for electronic medical records. I stopped working. I was a contractor. My last contract was in April. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to focus more on my entrepreneurship things. And so I was feeling kind of down, honestly, with not being able to get a job. And so it forced me to have to focus more, and then having access to your trainings and having access to the community and all of the support, et cetera, is what's been helping me to keep moving. And I have my moments, and I've learned to have grace with myself. So if I phase out for a moment, that's okay. And then I get right back in it. And those are things that, if I didn't have that, it wouldn't hurt. And one of the things I will answer this, that I'm looking forward to diving into in your classroom, is your YouTube accelerator.
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to make sure to increase my YouTube presence, and you giving us step-by-step play to be able to increase our presence, maybe get creator funds, but just to serve our clients through that channel is what I'm looking forward to diving into next.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and it sets you up perfectly for what we do in All Access, where you can major in YouTube or major in memberships, and so we have these different tracks that we have. So the accelerator gets you everything you need to launch, and then there's what you need to grow. So thank you so much. I think this is going to help a lot of people, and I'm very, very excited about the accomplishments that you've had.
Thank you, and I thank you for putting this community together for us.
Absolutely. See you soon.